practice we know about, at least definitely. So we went for a complete user story based development model. And what was unique about the user story based development model, we let the complete project team get organized into user story teams. So user story team is not a permanent team, it's a makeshift team, and whatsoever is required for a user story to be realized. So all those set of people come together, form a user story based or a feature team, and then they work towards delivering the user story. So that was our major cultural shift that we had to bring in. From a silo mode, a component-based mode of working. I work for the engineering platform, so I have nothing to do with anybody above or below me. I work for X, so I don't need to interact with people on A and Z front. So from that to user story-based development was a big cultural shift for us. The other important things which we had to bring about is a very close-knit interaction of product marketing and the R&D. So R&D here includes everybody, right from your product owners to people who plan, analyze, architects, developers, integration, system test, whatsoever you would like to call them. So anybody and everybody who's required to work on a complete product. So all those people, together with the product marketing, basically they try and work together. And the third distinction that we brought in here is at the definition phase, there is an activity which is carried out, and this is called as the value stream, this is called as the value effort matrix. And what's happening in the value effort matrix exercise is the product marketing comes with the business value of a product, and the R&D at that point of time, whatsoever clarity they could have on a feature or a user story, they bring in that clarity in terms of estimates. So you have effort on one side, you have the value on the other side, and then this is basically a simple XY plot kind of thing. So user stories with maximum value and with realizable effort. So effort as you can pack into a release. So these are what are taken up as a set of user stories to be realized. So this is a very major exercise where product marketing and R&D really work hand in hand. And only after that, it goes to the realization phase. And then, of course, in the realization phase also, we had a lot of this continuous integration which came into picture. So the frequency, the performance of our build machines, the complete build infrastructure went for a change. And most important, the criteria for check-ins at every phase were very clearly defined. So we had a very, very well-documented gate-in check-ins criteria at every phase. And the gated check-ins had to be verified, of course, before the check-in. The state of a branch had to be verified by the verification team. And then we started having the benefits of this entire revamp. We were able to slowly show progress in the next version where we were able to bring down our time to market to almost 9 months. So from 2 years, which is 24 months, we could bring it down to 9 months. And in the first release, we did not have anything which went for a cut towards the fag end. In the last 2 months, we did not have to cut down a single feature.
So the last part of the session, which we are all eagerly waiting for, is the Lean Leadership Workshop, which is going to take by Vibhu Srinivasan. So we have a 15-minute break. We have a tea break. So
please. And I wanted to sort of, we must have had 2 days of lots of discussion. So I'm going to keep this session fairly light. But it's a discovery session. So keep your bags away and relax. And you need something to write. If you're going to be here, you need something to write. So settle down and So I'll tell you the sort of, I think I'm going to be helping, and Gautam here is doing one phase of it. But we don't have an answer, so if you come here looking for something awesome, we're going to be running you through some series of questions. So the question here is like, we've come to a lean conference with some Scrum Agile built into it. People have been talking all about transformation, right? But mostly what I have learned, at least listening to a lot of you last 2 days, is what about self-transformation? What about individual change? Because we are always like, even in the thing that Navi, I don't know if you went to that have fun at thing, it was easy to see that people are always expecting someone else to change. So this session is sort of a thinking session, and a lot of the things you will see, the slide is just for like discussion. You will probably know the theory behind it. So I'm just going to ask you first to partner with someone. So you need a partner for this session. So find someone that you can trust to be open and honest with. Okay? If you don't have someone, ask them first of all, can I be open and honest with you? And if I tell you something in the next 15 minutes, hopefully you don't tweet this, right? And if he says, I will say something, take your name tag out and just say a false name or something, right? So everybody here has to have a partner or something, and you can stand, do whatever you need to do. I know there's less space here. Everyone has a partner? Who does not have a partner? Jaya needs a partner here, someone to pair up with Jaya. Okay, so this person is going to be your. So what Gautam and I hope at the end of this session is that you have one page, that page has your name written, that you take some action items out of this conference, put it on your wall, and then actually do it tomorrow onwards. That's the only purpose. There is no much bigger agenda than that. So if you can close the door, Shantaram. Close the door. So there's lots of people in this room, so I'm going to introduce some small group management techniques. There's lots of people here. So let's try it out. So if I raise my hand, and if something I have to say, lots of things will land. So when it's a very agile conference, so typically in agile conferences, when you raise your hand, what happens? Everybody raise the hand and stop talking. Because I don't know if your list signals us, okay? So raise your hand. If you're happy about something, let's say you are talking to we don't need to know what by the way, we'll never ask you in this session much, what are you thinking and all that, because it's between you and your partner. We don't want to get into that discussion here. We'll just keep moving on, right? Now, if you get happy about something, you and your partner found something that made you really happy, we would like you to raise your hand, raise it, and do a silent clap. Okay, silent clap. Gives me and Gautam a lot of energy that you did a silent clap. Okay, so if you have not done even one silent clap in the next 1 hour, both of us have done a lousy job. Okay, so it's automatic feed. Yeah, I will do tickling or something. Okay, so let's sort of start moving. We'll keep moving. I know it's fast pace. So we'll start with this thing, right? What if we invest in our people and they leave? And then someone says, what if they don't and they stay? We invest in people. What if we, asked to go for this training? Should I invest in them? And so a lot of this is the sort of dilemma we always face. And so this session is about self only, like me, right? How about me? And can I make some changes to myself? Okay? And this is our view. It's taken from some books and our experience. It's not some lean expert view or anything. Okay? But we do want you to take something away from here. So what does self-leadership mean? And I want you to be with your partner and talk about this first. Okay? And in your paper, I would like you to write down, once you're done with it, we're going to time these things maybe in 2 minutes or something, discuss with your partner, and write down when someone says, I don't make the theoretical answer, okay, that I also know leadership means somebody here, right? So I know that. But when you say self-leadership, I am a leader, what does it mean? So talk to your partner for a minute, and whenever I do this, time is up. Okay, go. And write it down, then I'll share my answer and we'll compare notes. You write your answer, she'll write her answer.
Hey, guys, I think many of you have a question. This is,
What is there?
yeah, just talk amongst yourself, write it down on any blank sheet of paper
Don't
what
read
you mean
what
by
is there yet.
self-leadership.
We're going to
Yeah.
run you through that. So start reading everything leadership. Or someone says, are you a leader? What does it mean to you? How do you know somebody is a leader? You met somebody. How do you know he's a leader? Write one or two things. In anywhere, turn back, write. It's your scribbly notes. Put a name, you know. Gautam, 2 minutes ಹೊಡಿತಾರ್ಬೇಕು ನಾವು. Clock ಏನಿದೆಯಾ? ಒಂದು timer ಅನ್ನ ಹಾಕಿ. You don't have a partner? Partner needed? Partner? Anyone needs partner?
Hey guys, is there anyone else here who doesn't have a partner? Okay, yeah, you can go at the back there. There's one.
Try. As long as you have some sort of agreement. Okay. When I sat this morning or some yesterday night, and I think after the beer and stuff, and we wrote our definition of what does leadership mean. Now, I don't know if this is true or false, right? This is my view, right? So we have learned a lot about managing, like don't manage people, right? So when you think of a lean leadership, often they say don't manage people, okay? So I would like you to be honest to yourself at this point, okay? And raise your hand if you manage people. Let's see. One, you should be true here because nothing here will be published outside. Okay? Manage people, right? So a lot of us do that. I mean, that's how we are inbuilt, you know. But when you start looking at leadership, you have to step back from managing the people to what? Managing the system. Okay? So now the question to your partner, what does that mean? What does it mean? I mean, somebody says manage the system. Well, what does it mean? Go manage the printer. I mean, what does it mean, right? Talk for a minute. Write down managing the system. What does it mean? ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಇದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇನ್ನು ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಅನ್ ಅವರ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ ಫಟಾಫಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋಣ ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ನೈಸ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಕ್ಲಾಕ್ Don't do that. To me, managing the system means I got a system, right? I don't know, whatever system. Okay, I am going to a restaurant. Okay, this restaurant is a system, and my job as the leader of the restaurant is to make maximum value, right, out of that system, whatever that system is. You know, so that's how I feel about leadership. Is someone who's capable of producing maximum value through not throughput and all that, maximum value. Okay, which means that we need to step away from trying to keep people busy all the time. Okay, how many of us in this room are in this business of trying to keep people busy all the time? Raise your hand if you're true, right? So we are always trying to keep busy people and all that, but we talk about everything, and we come to conferences and we talk about all these achievements, but I cannot tell you how many times outside conversations people tell me, I did speak about all these things in the conference, but really none of this is working in at work. Right? I'm like, why are you saying all these things then, right? And it's shocking to me when I hear that. So to me, it's sort of going away from the command and control structure that we're used to, which is easy to say, to a more of a lean management, which, you know, we're following a book here called the Toyota Leadership as for the first part, and some of you are having a copy of that today. So what does it mean? So I feel, and Gautam feels the same way too, that there is a leader in each one of us, right? So that leader is often not somebody. So let's do a quick activity, okay? So I'm going to use 3 words, and I would like you to stand up. Stand up. Yeah. So when I say something, you can look only one of 3 places. So if I say, so I'm going to use, you can look up, you can look straight, or you can look down. So let's do a small test with a few words. Up, straight, try it out. Up, straight, down. Cool. First word, worker. Worker be people, developer, tester, all these people. Workers. What do you look? Where do you look? Manager. Okay, leader, right? So most of us, what happens is we have been taught. You can sit down. We have been taught from the time like I'm probably born or something, right? I fell off from the womb of my mom, and I've been told when someone says leader, you got to look up, right? In fact, all the pictures you see in business, all that we know, whenever a leader is shown, he's shown where? At the top. Why? You know. So why cannot? So that command. So we got to flip that. So that's one of the goals of a lean management is to flip that goal. And then the only way we can do this is to say, heck with you, leader up there. We will believe there's a leader in each one of us. Okay. So I'm going to go further here because it's taking time. So I know a lot of you know these things. I'm not going to read this verbatim, right? So some simple principles, right, of lean is always think about the customer. Always think about him as a leader. Introduce value stream. We have heard a bazillion times here, value stream. So what I would like you to write down is how many of you went to work day before yesterday? Okay, write down 6 things you did day before yesterday at your work. 6 things only. Don't go too far. Talk to your partner. Write down fast. 6 things that you did day before yesterday at work. Pencil needed here. Pencil. Soma, I believe we do 60,000 things in a day. Done? Done? 6 things done. Look how easy it is, right? So now what I would like you to do is think about your customer and circle only those items that are a value add. What was, no, customer is not your boss or something, okay? Customer is your end, whatever you're building. If you're Siemens, you're building the machine. If you're a restaurant person, you're making masala dosa. Think about your customer and circle that, okay? Generally, I want to know how many of you have all 6 circled. Raise your hand. Amazing, man. Good. Round of applause for him right here, right? Round of applause. So generally, there could be... It's okay. Remember, we don't need to hear you. Generally, that's a lie, okay? But it's okay. You don't have to say to me anything. But generally, even I was thinking about what the hell I did the day before yesterday, and it sounded like, wow, this is what I did. Could be so. So one of the goals of that is you could potentially, as a leader, delegate some of those things to people who are really wanting to do those things. Okay. So look at the 6 things in your list and maybe even 1 or 2 circle. You know what? I wish somebody else, I'm sure, can delegate this. Write the name of the person that you think in your organization could have done that task instead of you. Okay. If nobody is there, then I'm sorry about it. But I'm sure there is one person in your organization. Anywhere, you can delegate to your boss. Why not? Delegate could be anybody. Huh? Valuable ones. Done? Okay. So it turns out that typically what we see is we always are trying to do somebody's work or someone is telling us doing work. So there is like how you do value stream map for an entire organization. If you come in the morning in the day, write 10 tasks. So I do this many times. If you ask people in my office, I put a whiteboard there and I try to see which is the highest value for the day. Right? Just the first thing, I have a whiteboard and we try to do it. And some of us so one of the things you can start practicing is come to work in the morning before you go into that coffee or that stand-up or anything. Just think about, this is the best day of my life. Remember, joy at work. Write 10 things that you plan to do. Because once, after coffee. But sort them top to bottom and delegate what you can delegate and pick only value-add items. Simple change. You don't have to go any more far from that, right? But it really helps you. It helps you planning your day well. And then after that, if anyone comes to you, what do you say? WIP limit is how many things a human can do at one time? Really? For all the things Jim said yesterday, I heard the number was 1 or 2, you're already lying, 3, it's not possible, right? Because guess what? There's a lot of study that has been done by a lot of lean people that the thing that you can finish fastest slows down by the slowest possible task. So by just doing, so that's a start finishing thing people start talking about. Instead of complaining to other people about it, how about doing it ourselves every day? Okay, so that's something to think about. No questions, please. I got to keep moving. Questions will take in the end. Okay, so that's all. So that's the basic lean principles. So there's lots of lean principles. One I really liked, which when I was with Mary and Tom Poppendieck, I think it was referred in the last session, right? So I got scared, when Tom Poppendieck came into the Agile session and sat in my session. I was freaking out, right? And he came and he whispered something in your ear. He said, "You're teaching all the things. The only thing you should talk about to everybody is don't waste customers' time or money, right? They don't really care about all the non-value add tasks you do. So be that kind of a person who doesn't." So then, since then, it's been a little effort from my part, all of us, to not have any. It's easy to say we all really come to conferences and do all the walk away, right? But how many of us actually put to practice, right? So at a personal level, request for you is don't waste your customers' time. Write your tasks in the day and see which ones you really need to do. Guess what? Some days I just don't do any of the tasks. What happens then? What does it mean if I came in a day and I didn't do any of the task and nobody asked me about it? What has happened to the task? It's either delegated or it's possibly a waste. Many times we keep on doing things because we think about it. So write one meeting that you go to in your organization today. Tell your partner that's a waste. Just write it down. Don't even think. First meeting that comes down, write it down. This is a damn waste. Write it down. Just one is enough. One meeting that you will not go tomorrow. Okay, one meeting, guys, you should be done by now. Okay, so there is a model that many of us probably have read in books. It's called the Toyota leadership model. So I'm just going to walk you through some things. Mohan last year gave a topic on that. Mohan is not here now, but we spoke about this last year. So I had the luxury recently of actually sitting with someone who actually did work at Toyota, because I kept reading books and he corrected me on a few things, and it was amazing to hear from them what they really mean by these things. So the first thing I realized from him is don't say a Japanese word in front of a Japanese guy, right? Because he killed the hell. I was like, what is that? I said, I'm sorry. So since then I don't use those Gensi, Gumbutsu and all, none of those things, Gemba, walk, and it's too scary, I don't want to use it. But so in the Toyota leadership model, five values, right? Challenging someone, yourself more than anything else. Kaizen mind, which means that I, as a person, am continuously changing, improving myself. Small changes, right? Improving myself. We have heard so many things about go and see. Okay? So how many people in this room are managers? Okay. Write one instance of something where you called someone. How many of you sit in offices, cubicles? Raise your hand. It could be a closed thing, right? You're sitting there. How many of you remember an instance where you actually picked the phone and called someone and say, I want to talk to you, can you come into my office? Have any of you done that? Right? Is that go and see? No. So in this Toyota book, when you read it, that's not leadership in any way. What could be a better way is to go, so in this, what I was told, at least in this company, is they are trained to go and see. Let's say I went here. I heard there is a fight going on this table. Okay, I'm the manager. Somebody told me I ran here. They're all fighting. What am I supposed to do now? They're fighting. Big fight going on. Shoot a video, right? So what's a typical behavior we'll do? What is a typical behavior managers do? You try to resolve it, right? Now that, because we want to stop this fight right now, right? What should a good leader do? Join the fight, right? Now I learned, which we do a little bit in Solutions IQ now, by coaching. It doesn't come by yourself. By coaching is, I may come and look at you guys and like walk away, right? What happens when you walk away? You're a leader, you just came, you saw a bunch of people who report to you, and you just laugh and you walk away, you're not done anything. What happens to this group right now? They manage? So that's what so there is a concept called a sensei. A sensei is like, when you go to, they say Guru Dakshina, you go to this place, this guy, Baudhi Bhikshandehi guy, right? So that is the concept that as a leader, don't solve problems, because our organizations are full of only problems, right? The more we solve problems, what's going to happen? Exactly. So what else can, it is true, right? So what else can we do instead of solving problems? Keep creating, or help them resolve these things in a way that they can do, right? So therefore they don't know how to, when there is a fight going on, so there's some coaching needed. So there are these 5 values that is practiced in the Toyota way, or in that book on the leadership way, and it goes through sort of a multi-stage model. And I just want to mention 1 or 2, and I know time is up. Gautam is looking at me. So first is like committing yourself to practice some of these values. Okay, I would like you to circle one that you think, I don't think I do this, especially the last one. How many people, if you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5, okay, respect for humanity. So here is how I would flip it. You're going in Bangalore traffic, there's an ambulance coming behind you. Okay, there is a dead patient here who could be your neighbor, for all you know. Honest, put a mark on there, you pull off the side, and if you have even once driven in front of yourself, cross yourself and say, I don't think I fall that. Okay, write down. If you have done it, cross it and say, I'm a humanity person, right? But even if once you're not pulled across, well, if you can't show some courtesy to somebody outside, I'm sure I'm not going to show to you at work, right? So it turns out that people, like somebody, they said, right? I think Arvind was saying it, or Vikram, Arvind was saying it, right, earlier, and the thing that because it's people, it's not, you can't manage them, they are having emotions and they cry. So make sure that you start practicing these values. Now to go from there to coach and develop others, right, you need someone to help you, okay? You can't be, you always have to seek for someone to learn from. Otherwise, we are just going to be like that. Okay? We have been taught only first 15, 20 years of our life, and then we got our degree and all, then there's no more learning going on. Okay? I would like you to write down the name of one person, could be your husband, wife, child, whatever it is, that you think you can learn from. Could be a boss, could be a friend in your organization. You can say, I think I have to really learn from this person. It could be outside your organization. Okay? It doesn't have to be now. I think I want to be a better person because I care about people, right? I want to be a better leader. This one person I think is an example I can learn from. Somebody could be there in your organization that fits that model. Okay? Outside, home, somewhere, right? Okay, now here is a twist, right? How many of you could not even think of one person in your organization? Raise your hand. Here is my question to you. Why are you working here? You guys suck. You could leave and do something else. If the only reason you work here is for money, guess what? Money is not a motivator for people. Find a place, because if you don't learn constantly, you're not going to improve, right? So if you have written somebody outside, this is danger problem. You got to think about it, okay? Really introspect and say, wow, what's going on? So anyway, so let's keep moving on. So what kind of leadership style do you see, right? So this is a story of globalsecurity.org. So I work with some US Marine Corps. People go fight in the war, right? So I've been helping them with some agile stuff. And I was surprised when I was teaching them something in Scrum. He jumped up and said, whatever you're saying, we've been doing it for the last 20 years. What are you talking about, right? I said, oh, what is that? So he went and printed this manual for me. And I'm going to be with the team next week in Boston, right? So there are two kinds of, so what happens in, I don't know, any military people here? Like, or you played war games and stuff, right? So what he said is, when we are in like a safe soil, like Indian army in India, our behavior is different, right? But when we step into war territory, this is what we do, okay? And so if you note this, right, mission, this is the command and control. This is sort of what we think of as lean or agile, okay? And some things here, so what I would like you to do, and you can look up this later, it's online at globalsecurity.org. This is the reason the US government passed a law that all projects in Department of Defense going ahead will be done using the lean and agile way because of some of these things. So what I would like you to do is in your book. Open your paper. Okay. There's an activity number 1. Okay. Activity number 1. Found it? Circle the words that you think are for a command and for an agile or a lean leader. Circle the words, work with your partner, and pick the ones that are for a lean leader or not a command and control person. Everything. Everything is not the right answer. Okay. No, give it. No, we'll give it in the next session. Yeah. Are we done, guys? What the moment time I have? Are we done? Okay. So here is my answer. So note down if you have some of those things to write. So anything you see here, right? Like right? You are sort of bureaucratic. So the ones I liked here are the one I highlighted one. If people openly speak about the issues they are facing in your organization, let's say I come to your organization, you call me for a coffee. If you have to call them and say, this guy is coming, when he's here, just tell the truth, but after that, just be nice with him, right? So if you have a system and the system is working well, the system should, without you force anything, should be able to speak the truth. It means they should be able to know what to say and how to help themselves, okay? So I can send you this thing, but ideally, it doesn't matter how top down you are or how big and all that, but you should have a system where people, if suppose I say the truth and say something, is that being respected? If that is not there, you're neither agile nor human nor nor Scrum. It doesn't matter anymore, right? So one of the simplest change we can make as a leader is go back and say, you know what, do the right thing, do whatever you need to do. I'm not going to force you into anything. Right? And that's a tough thing to do, by the way. I have practiced it and I know it's tough. So if you're a leader in that thing, stop doing such things, right? So let them create a system and see what, and then if they speak the truth, what should happen? Let's say they said the truth. Something is not working. Okay? A, you don't scold them. B, help them. So the role of a leader goes from one of solving problems to removing impediments, okay? And it could be anything from somebody is like having a headache or and that should be a Scrum Master thing. So you don't want to solve all those problems, but some problems like are real problems. So the role of leader becomes more of a chief impediments officer, chief removal officer, right? Try it out. Outside your board, put a Kanban board and say, I eat impediments, okay? And sit inside doing nothing. If no one comes to your board and puts nothing for 1 week, you should find a new job, okay? Because you are a lousy leader, nobody feels like coming to you and saying anything, right? If you are a good leader, impediments will flow to your desk, okay? That's a very small test for you, how good you are. So I'm going to move, I know Gautam had something to do, but there are some qualities of leadership, okay? And that's in your book, okay? I've just written them there so you can follow them. So let's do one thing and then we'll stop. One of the qualities is something called, some of them you can read, it's in the book and all that. A simple one called active listening. Okay, active listening, without questioning, listening, right? So I would like you to turn to your partner, okay? You are not allowed to solve the problem. Describe something that really bothered you, not about work, something that really bothered you. The other person is only allowed to say, I hear you are saying this, okay? I feel this is what I'm hearing. So you can't solve the problem basically. Okay, try to only ask questions to solve the problem. It could be anything from I couldn't find a cab or this conference sucks. I don't know what to do. Any of those things, problems. 2 minutes only. Try to do a bit of active listening. Go find a partner. Go fast. Started. Right? Notice what was, so only one person, right? What was a little different about this session, like that active listening? What was different? Only one person might have not enough time. What was tough about this? Focus, right? Not giving solutions is very tough. Because we know the answer, right? That's why we are leaders, right? We not just come like that. We got the damn engineering degree, the MBA that we are forced to do. And with all of these things, lots of fights we become leaders. So we know how to solve problems. But guess what? Others don't know. right? So then the job of a leader is to sort of say delegate and say, you know what, error is okay. So if you cannot tolerate mistakes in your group, you cannot be a good leader. So mistakes will happen. So I often tell my team, I can take any kind of mistake, but this one mistake, I'll be little not good, right? So this will be, even this is okay, but so I have some certain things only. So be open with them in terms of what is something that you don't tolerate. Rest of the stuff is okay, right? So be open with them. So the last thing, I know it's time up, but in this, so there is a study on the 11 characteristics of lean leaders, okay? Any person, it doesn't have to do with lean per se, right? And the study goes on to say that we are not, one person cannot have any of these different characteristics. It's very tough for one person to have all these characteristics. And the way to do, so first activity is circle the characteristic that you think you don't have. You don't have the sheet only? You don't have the sheet only? Okay. Why don't you just look here and write down, I'll give you the sheet. I don't know, they may not print it out for you or something, right? So which is the characteristic that you don't have? Don't have. We have all these characteristics, I know, right? The one that you don't have. Right?
And guys, being honest is very important here.
Absolutely. It's not there in this, okay? Once you have written that down, turn to your partner and say, this is my one action item today. I'm going to do this intentionally so that I can build this one characteristic. So write it down and then talk to your partner and say, what is one action item you're going to do today so that you do that particular thing. Coach, creator, thinker, persister, inspirator, motivator, entrepreneur, optimist, achiever, rebel, visionary. Point is, when you form a team, if you make a team with all of them who are only thinkers, you're going to have trouble, right? So I know people say anybody can form teams, but be careful of forming teams of having at least a mix of these characteristics, okay? So otherwise your team is not going to function because it just, so they cannot solve that problem. When these people are fighting and you go there, they cannot solve the problem because they don't know, they don't have those skills, okay? Now, that's all. So with that, so one last thing I'll show and I'll give it to Gautam and we'll try to finish as fast as we can. So in Toyota Way, the leadership book, this is a word we all know. I say, how do you say this, guys? Shuhari, right? So generally what apparently you can do is you can take, so in the shoe state you learn from a master or some coach, the person you wrote your name earlier, right? You try to learn something. Ha state is when you can ready to teach someone, and in the re state you are an expert of that. Okay, but you never finish learning. So re doesn't mean you know a lot. In fact, what I read is, in the re state is when you don't answer anything. In the shoe state, if somebody says, where is the restroom? Outside. In the ha state, where is the restroom? Figure it out. So the more you go your journey this way, the less you feel the need of your own self. So if you're the kind who is always ready to answer, not in the right state, right? So just circle the state that you think you are in. In general, are you the person who always answers everything? So then what you could apparently do is you can take these various characteristics, and not all of these can be done at that state. So for example, in a shoe state, you cannot be a coach. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Think of, right? I'm not an expert of kabaddi today. Tomorrow somebody calls and says, become a kabaddi team coach. Bad idea, right? So you got to learn personally which state, in what skill. So I would like you to write, well, end and give it to Gautam. Last step, write one skill you have today for which you think you can coach someone else. One skill, could be whatever skill, doesn't matter. Here is a skill, I'm a master of this skill, could be cooking, could be like taking care of children, but I can coach someone else. No, not out of this, in general.
Okay guys, just to test how many of you are paying attention, how many times did Vibhu say, I'll give it to Gautam? before he actually gave it to me. Yeah. I counted it myself the 4th time I got lucky. Okay, anyway, he's given me a tough challenge now. And, he's given me a real short time to do my presentation. And I'm an agilist, right? So I think I need to be really agile now and, adapt. Exactly, inspect and adapt. Okay, so I think Vibhu did a great session where he kind of explained and, helped you guys do a wonderful discovery, right? This whole session, what we just did, where we discovered, okay, what are the skill sets what we need as leaders? What are the skill sets which really matter for us as leaders? What is that I'm lacking? What is that I can improve, right? So all these observation or the discovery phase, is really helpful because that helps us take the first step. And once we do this, once we are there, once we understand what are the things, once we get to know the skills, then we talk to, it's a journey, right? Leadership is always a journey. It's a growth journey. We as leaders, as a self, it can be in anything, leadership in anything. So it's a journey for us. For us to reach our destination, it's all about taking the leaps, what we call. So that's what I'm talking about now. How do I ensure, with all the skill sets what I've learned, how do I ensure that I take the right leaps at the right time, which helps me reach my destination? And then, obviously, once I reach that one destination, then I can plan for my next destination. So it's all about taking the leap. So the first point what I want to discuss is, leaders turn disappointment and frustration into action, not excuses. We all want to move forward. And many a times, we have these situations where we don't want to take the leap. Why? Either we don't have the skills, or either we are fearful. There's a fear factor, and we don't want to take the leap. But a good leader, what does he do? It's there. He converts that frustration into action. And those who don't want and those who don't do that, what do? Yeah, do you know what? There's a lot of these problems. I didn't do that. That's the thing. So, it prevents you from adapting. That's the whole thing. So, a good leader, and all the skill sets what we just discovered, using those skills, it helps us take the leap and, not make excuses and then put things into action. The second point, leaders study the gap and take the leap only after thoughtful consideration. We just discussed, right? Vibhu had those 11 points, 11 skill sets what we just saw there. We might not have all the skill sets. We might have, some of the skill sets, but we might not have all the skill sets within us. We need to understand what is our limitation. We understand your strengths, and then